Welcome to our latest video in the iMedia revision collection, and today we're looking at primary and secondary research. As per always, we're going to look at the knowledge organiser first. We're in topic area number 2. We're specifically looking at section 2.4. We're going to go through primary, secondary and research data, and that covers words 76 to 85. So let's get started. So we're going to start with primary research methods. And primary research is first-hand research created by you. An example is a survey or a questionnaire. However, if it's somebody else's survey and you've not done it, it then becomes secondary research, because that's you looking at somebody else's research. So for example, if you looked at government statistics, that would be primary research done by the government, but it would be secondary research to you because you didn't create the survey, questionnaire or research. So advantages and disadvantages. Primary research has been created by you, so you can make it bespoke, you can make it to whatever you want it to be. The disadvantage is it can be time consuming and costly to you. Also, it's sometimes more beneficial to use secondary research conducted by experts, because they have years of experience and big budgets, and they can make something very, very specialist, which you might not be able to do if you're not experienced in that topic of research. So examples of primary research: a focus group. If you've watched the show The Apprentice, this is the kind of thing they do. They get a small group of the target audience and they discuss things with them. So for example, for a stop smoking campaign, you might get a focus group to discuss products like nicotine patches and ideas which can help people to stop smoking. Interviews. Interviews are where somebody asks questions, generally on a one-on-one basis, but there may be an interview sometimes where you interview a small group of people. This is relaxed and an informal discussion where informal language may be used. Online surveys. This is where you can send out a survey online, and these are becoming very popular because they're quick and easy to email out, and they have features like tick boxes, radio buttons, drop-down boxes, rank orders, which make it very easy for the user or the end user to answer the questions. We also have questionnaires. Questionnaires tend to be paper-based way of completing a survey. They require paper copies for each respondent, so it will be slightly more time-consuming than doing an online survey, because if you send out paper copies, you've then got to send them out individually, collect them in, and then collate the results yourself, which can take ages. Imagine 1,000 paper surveys and you've got to type up all the results. It is going to be a time-consuming process for you. We then have secondary research. Secondary research is using information created by other people. Students often use other people's work in university essays, but they have to reference it. And if you think about the assets table and sourcing information that you've done, you have to reference where you have got those sources from. So using secondary research methods, it's always good to reference where the information has come from. So secondary research has been created and conducted by another person or persons. So you have the advantage of accessing their research with less effort than creating your own. There's also a wide range of secondary research out there. Lots of this can be found on the internet with specialist knowledge and expertise. The disadvantage of secondary research is it may be biased, it may be unreliable, because you have no control over creating it, and you've got to be 100% certain that the creator can be trusted. Some secondary research may require a fee before you can use it, so you might have to pay for it as well. So secondary research, it could be a book, it could be a journal. You could go to a library and you could get a book and find information out from there. A journal is more like a specialised article. It could be written on like a Word document, for example, or it could be in a book. You've got internet sites, research from the internet, websites. The internet's got millions, billions of pages out there. There's loads of information. All of that will be a secondary source unless you've created it yourself. Magazines and newspapers, very similar to books. They are print published, so they can be print published, traditional media, or they could actually be digitally published, new media, if you get the e-versions of the internet. And we also have TV, and television shows are written and directed by different people. This makes them secondary sources of information. An example could be a wildlife documentary that gives you information about the impact of climate change on the natural world. Now, research can be also categorised into qualitative or quantitative research. Qualitative is quality, quantitative is quantity. So quality is high quality, in-depth research. Quantity is lots of higher numbers of research, which we will go into. So a questionnaire, for example, or an online survey, you could send out thousands of low quality responses and you might get answers back, for example, true or false. But an interview, you can ask questions, and these could be high quality questions backed up by further follow-up questions, which give you an in-depth quality answer to what you want to know. So qualitative information, remember the cliche, quality over quantity. So it's more in-depth, and although it's time-consuming, you get higher quality study in terms of researching something specific. So if you think about sending out an online survey or doing a focus group, if you have a focus group and you have the target audience and you can talk to them, you can have a really high quality conversation, whereas in an online survey, somebody might answer something, but you might want some follow-up information, and you wouldn't be able to get that on an online survey. And quantitative information, so if you reverse that argument, and if you think about quantity might be better than quality, if you want quick responses. So for example, what is your favourite flavour of milkshake? Chocolate, banana, or strawberry? If you ask that to 1,000 people, you could get a quick response and you'd know which kind of milkshake syrup to stock up on in your milkshake shack. So for the exam, you'd be expected to know the difference between primary and secondary research. You might be asked to identify a couple of primary research methods, a couple of secondary, or they might give you a mix of primary and secondary and get you to separate which are the primary and which are the secondary. They're the kind of questions I've seen on the exam. If you want to have a practice on this section, you can ask your teacher for the retrieval questions, or if you're an online user, click on the link in the video description and you can practice using a retrieval quiz. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch up with you in the next video tutorial.